It is crucial to understand the hazards associated with using ungrounded power tools, particularly when working in wet environments. Electricity follows the path of least resistance, and water significantly reduces the body's resistance, making it a prime conductor. When an ungrounded power tool comes into contact with water, or if the user is wet or standing on a wet surface, the risk of electrical shock, electrocution, burns, and fire greatly increases. Electrical shock occurs when current flows through the body. The severity depends on the amount of current, the path it takes, and the duration of the exposure. Even a small amount of current can cause muscle contractions, making it difficult to let go of the tool. Higher current can lead to ventricular fibrillation, a life-threatening heart rhythm disturbance. Electrocution is a fatal electrical shock. It happens when a large amount of current passes through the body, disrupting the heart and other vital organs. Burns can result from the heat generated by electrical current flowing through the skin. These burns can range from minor to severe, depending on the current and the duration of contact. Fire is another potential hazard. If the electrical current flows through flammable materials, such as wood or paper, it can ignite a fire. The absence of a proper ground connection is a major contributing factor to these hazards. Grounding provides a low-resistance path for fault current to flow back to the source, tripping a circuit breaker or ground fault circuit interrupter and cutting off the power. Without grounding, the fault current may flow through the user's body to the ground, leading to severe injury or death. Grounded power tools have a 3-prong plug. The third prong is connected to the tool's metal casing and provides a path to ground. If a fault occurs, the current will flow through the grounding conductor back to the source, tripping the circuit breaker or ground fault circuit interrupter. It is extremely dangerous to remove or bypass the grounding prong, as this eliminates the safety feature that protects against electrical shock. 2-wire extension cords do not provide a ground connection and should never be used with power tools that require grounding. A faulty 3-wire extension cord can also be dangerous if the ground wire is broken or disconnected. Always inspect extension cords before use to ensure that they are in good condition and that the ground wire is intact. Ground fault circuit interrupters are devices that detect electrical faults and interrupt the power supply to prevent electrical shock. They are designed to trip quickly, typically within a fraction of a second, when they detect a difference in current between the hot and neutral conductors. Ground fault circuit interrupters are particularly important in wet locations such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor areas. They can be installed in outlets or circuit breakers. When working in wet conditions, it is crucial to use ground fault circuit interrupters to protect against electrical shock. In addition to using grounded power tools and ground fault circuit interrupters, there are other precautions that can be taken to reduce the risk of electrical accidents in wet conditions. Wearing rubber gloves and boots provides insulation against electrical shock. Rubber is a poor conductor of electricity, so it can help to protect the user from electrical shock if they come into contact with a live wire. Working on a dry surface is another important precaution. If possible, move the work to a dry area or use a dry platform to stand on. Avoid standing in puddles or on wet grass. It is also important to keep power tools and extension cords dry. If they get wet, unplug them immediately and allow them to dry completely before using them again. Never use electrical tools or equipment near standing water. Always be aware of the location of power lines and other electrical hazards. Maintain a safe distance from power lines and never touch them with any object. If you are working near power lines, contact the utility company to have them energized or insulated. Inspect power tools regularly for damage. Look for frayed cords, cracked housings, and loose connections. If you find any damage, do not use the tool until it has been repaired by a qualified technician. Use the right tool for the job. Do not overload power tools or use them for purposes for which they were not designed. Overloading can cause the tool to overheat and malfunction, increasing the risk of electrical shock or fire. Be aware of the environment. Look for potential hazards, such as wet surfaces, standing water, and overhead power lines. Take steps to eliminate or mitigate these hazards before starting work. Never work alone in wet conditions. Have someone nearby who can help in case of an emergency. Make sure that everyone on the job site is aware of the electrical hazards and the precautions that are being taken. Train workers on the proper use of power tools and the hazards of working in wet conditions. Provide them with the necessary personal protective equipment, such as rubber gloves and boots. Enforce safety rules and procedures. Make sure that everyone on the job site is following the safety rules and procedures. Take disciplinary action against those who violate the rules. Always be aware of the potential for electrical shock when working with power tools in wet conditions. By following these precautions, you can help to reduce the risk of electrical accidents and keep yourself and others safe. In addition to the above mentioned, consider these other important points regarding electrical safety. Firstly, understand grounding versus bonding. Grounding connects to the earth, providing a path for fault current. Bonding connects non-current carrying metal parts to create a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source, helping to trip the overcurrent device. Secondly, ensure proper ground fault protection. Ground fault circuit interrupters protect people from electrical shock, while ground fault protection of equipment protects equipment from damage. Thirdly, use appropriately rated equipment. Ensure that all electrical equipment is rated for the voltage and amperage of the circuit. Do not use undersized extension cords or overloaded circuits. Fourthly, implement lockout-tagout procedures. Before working on any electrical equipment, de-energize the circuit and lockout-tagout the disconnect switch to prevent accidental energization. Fifthly, regularly inspect electrical equipment. Look for frayed cords, cracked housings, and loose connections. Replace or repair any damaged equipment immediately. Sixthly, provide adequate lighting. Ensure that there is adequate lighting in the work area to see clearly and avoid tripping hazards. Seventhly, avoid the use of extension cords. If possible, avoid the use of extension cords. If extension cords are necessary, use heavy-duty cords and keep them as short as possible. Eighthly, keep electrical panels clear. Keep electrical panels clear of obstructions and ensure that they are easily accessible in case of an emergency. Ninthly, follow the National Electrical Code. The National Electrical Code provides comprehensive guidelines for electrical safety. Follow the National Electrical Code requirements when installing and maintaining electrical equipment. Tenthly, stay updated on electrical safety. Electrical safety standards and technology are constantly evolving. Stay updated on the latest developments to ensure that you are using the safest practices. When working in Lockport, Illinois, be aware of local electrical codes and regulations. The City of Lockport may have additional requirements beyond the National Electrical Code. Contact the city's building department for more information. Furthermore, specific hazards in Lockport may include older homes with outdated wiring, proximity to waterways, and industrial facilities with heavy electrical loads. Take extra precautions when working in these areas. Always prioritize safety when working with electricity. If you are unsure about any aspect of electrical safety, consult with a qualified electrician. Electrical hazards can be deadly. Do not take risks. Remember these key takeaways. Firstly, use only grounded power tools in wet conditions. Secondly, wear rubber gloves and boots for insulation. Thirdly, use a ground fault circuit interrupter for added protection. Fourthly, work on a dry surface whenever possible. Fifthly, inspect tools and cords regularly for damage. Sixthly, never remove or bypass the grounding prong. Seventhly, use the right tool for the job. Eighthly, be aware of the environment and potential hazards. Ninthly, never work alone in wet conditions. Tenthly, follow all safety rules and procedures. By following these precautions, you can significantly reduce the risk of electrical accidents and stay safe while working with power tools in wet conditions.